How's it going, everybody? It's the Jonah Low Fox News, my channel where I talk about anime, video games, cartoons, most notably Sonic and Ninja Turtles. And today I'm here to do a little bit of a mini review on none other than Fang the Hunter. Um, as you already know, I'm a Sonic channel and stuff. I like to talk about Sonic stuff. You know how it is. Um, Pretty sure if you watch my stuff before, you know that I love reading the Sonic comics. I play the games. I'm a huge fan of the games, of course. Um, but as a Sonic fan, you don't always get like a lot of Sonic content. Every now and then, like get cartoons or shows. Well, I mean, you do have that, but you know, just every once in a while, right? So, usually I like to read the comics because I feel like, yeah, it definitely gives me that satisfaction or that kind of feeling for like new Sonic content and stuff, right? So basically, like I said, I love the IDW comics, and for like the since probably like what the beginning of this year, they've been focusing on this mini arc that takes place in the classic era about one of their characters, Fang the Hunter. So, in case you don't know who Fang is, Fang used to go by a name known as Knack the Weasel, which I know him best as Knack the Weasel. So if I call him Knack, you'll probably know why, but yeah, it's Fang now, and he's a Jaroba instead of a weasel, which is kind of weird, but whatever. Uh, but I mean, to be honest, he looks more like a weasel, and he's a bad guy, so I don't know. It makes most sense. But hey, Jaroba's cool too, I guess. So, anyways, I'm going to be talking about his first three comics, and then I'll probably edit in because the fourth comic actually comes out tomorrow, which is Wednesday. Okay, so that's going to be the 1st of May. So when it comes out, also do a review on it, but I'll talk about what I have so far. Okay. So as you can see right here, this is cover B of the first, Fang the Hunter issue and stuff, not counting the online mini comic. So basically, it's pretty much it's a simple story, but basically, Fang is looking for like he pretty much encounters both Sonic and Knuckles in this issue, and basically mm, he's trying to get information from them about this so-called rumor about an eighth emerald that he heard about and stuff, right? So basically, Fang's goal is that he wants to find this eighth emerald, prove to everybody that it's real, and he wants to sell it, get some money off of it, that kind of thing. Um, and get some maintenance done on his bike because he loves his marvelous queen. And of course, his supporting characters in this is the Team Hooligans, which is Bean the Dynamite and Bark the Polar Bear. So that's a supporting cast so far. Okay. So, anyways, let's see. I kind of took down some notes here, so I'll get right into that in a second. All right. There we go. Okay. So if I could just, well, I can't really zoom in, I guess, but I'll just bring it closer. So as you can see, the story is done by Ian Flynn. Hang on. The story is done by Ian Flynn. The pencils are done by, if I mispronounce anybody's name, please forgive me. I'm not that super familiar, but yeah, it's the pencils are done by Maru Fensaka. The inks are done by Rick Mack. The colors are done by Valentina Pinto. The lettering is done by Sean Lee. The editing is done by David Marietta, and the production is done by Joanna Natali. Okay. So those are pretty much everyone that's working on this book for right now. There'll be some more people that come in a little bit later and stuff. Not too much different, but yeah. So, anyways, what are my thoughts? So, while the story is kind of simple, it kind of portrays Sonic and Knuckles as like very competent in here. So, like, we get this opening scene where it's kind of like a Tom and Jerry Looney Tunes, Sylvester Tweety kind of thing, where Fang is like stalking Sonic and stuff, and he basically tries to attack Sonic by throwing this giant boulder at him, even though he's trying to get he's supposed to be asking him about the ephemeral, but it's that kind of thing. And plus, Fang's a villain, so he don't really give a damn. So, anyways, it starts off like this, where Sonic kind of makes light of Bean, Fang, and Bark right here and stuff. As you can see, I definitely love the art and stuff. Uses that kind of that like what was it like that squish and squash kind of thing, or the yeah. they were definitely doing that a lot inside Sonic Prime, the show. So I definitely did like that with the action and stuff from that show, and they're doing it here with this comic and stuff. So basically, they chatted up and talk. Fang is explaining that he's heard rumors about an eighth emerald, and that it's yellow, kind of gold, and it's like rainbowy from what he hears and stuff. So I'll talk about that later when we get to that. So, anyways, they just leave and all that. Sonic kind of introduces Bean and Bark by name. So, in case you're new here and you don't know who these characters are, Sonic during the fight refers to them by like, oh, he's like, hey, what's up, Bean? Right there, and then right here, he's like, bye, Bark, and all that, or hey, Bark, right up here. And then later on, Fang's name is referred to later by Tails. He's like, "Was that Fang and his gang and stuff?" And yeah, Sonic's like, "Yeah, they were just passing by, like a bad smell." So yeah, that was pretty nice. So, anyways, what else do I got here? So yeah. So pretty much we got some interesting locations and stuff. I am pretty sure that this is Green Hill Zone since every time starts off in Green Hill Zone and it's Sonic's place, so of course it's Green Hill Zone. We also get that got this nice shot of Angel Island right here, as you can see, and the Master Emerald Shrine. So that's another location. Um, Knuckles, he's protecting the island and the Master Emerald and all that stuff. Uh, we got Mushroom Hill Zone right here and all that stuff. So that's pretty nice. And we also have some cameos too. Like they're not actually in the story yet, but we got Dr. Eggman right here and we got Amy right here and stuff. As you can see, they're just in like flashbacks and all that. So yeah, it's a pretty good, nice story and stuff. Definitely like good for the kids. Not like anything too serious or anything, but just it's pretty nice. All right. So that was pretty simple. So pretty much we kind of get a general like if you're reading this, you kind of get a general idea of like the thing. He's just a treasure hunter and he's a mercenary for Dr. Eggman from time to time. We also get flashbacks of like to how well their jobs like kind of turn out. So like Fang is mostly, of course, like I said, motivated by thrill seeking and some of like, and like trying to maintain his Marvelous Queen, his little hover bike and stuff. So like these are the flashbacks here, where Bean and Bark are complaining that they always get the short end of the stick, and what's his face? Fang always just gets off getting paid or whatever. So they don't exactly have a good friendship, obviously, or it's not even a friendship to be honest with you. It's just, yeah, we're acquaintances or we just work together or whatever, or we're just coworkers, but we don't like each other, that kind of thing. So like, right here, Fang is trying to pretend like, oh yeah, we're buddies, right? Like old time's sake, and then Bean and Barker all like, "Nah, nah, nah. We know your tricks. We're not falling for it." Like, but hey, we'll humor you. So it's like that. So I like that. They're just straight up like, yeah. I don't really consider Bean and Bark to be villains, uh, but Fang definitely, which is kind of weird because what's his face? Fang's bio said that he was what did Fang's bio say? I'm trying to think. Fang's bio has said that, or said that he's not a bad guy. He just, works for Dr. Eggman, which I'm like, I mean, he's still technically a bad guy. But I don't think being a Bark are though. That's just my personal opinion. So, anyways, so far that is issue one and stuff. In my personal opinion, I kind of give it like a 8.5 out of 10. So like that's pretty much 85% or a B plus in my book. So there you go. So that's issue one, and pretty much it ends with Bean and Bark getting captured and all that stuff. I actually follow this artist Billy Kay. He actually posted online that he was like, oh yeah, they actually put in my thing in the comic and stuff. And this is pretty good too. Some of the fan art and all that stuff. But yeah, but I follow this guy Billy Kay right here. He's on like Tumblr. I think he's on Twitter if I'm not mistaken, and definitely on DeviantArt because I'm always on. Well, I'm not always on DeviantArt, but yeah, I mean I'm pretty active on DeviantArt as you all should know. So there is that. So these are the covers. Cover B, which is what I got. I definitely wanted to get cover B because it resembles Sonic the Fighters, as you can see right here. You got the little character select and stuff where players one, two, and three is Fang, Bark, and Bean, and then you got Sonic Tails and Knuckles who also, appear in this issue. So yeah. And then this is the retailer issue. I'm not really a huge fan of it, but it's all right. And then this is the little Sonic Winter Jam and stuff. I have that. I also got this comic too, Ninja Turtle Saturday Morning. That was a pretty good comic. Um, but anyways, now we go into issue two. All right. So issue two, let's begin. All right. So the pencils are done by somebody else. It's actually done by, if I'm not mistaken, Thomas Roof Roof Leisenberg right here. As you can see, that's his name. And I think, yeah, pretty much everybody's the same up on here and stuff. So, anyways, as far as locations go, we got Mushroom Hill, we got Santropolis and stuff. I like that. But yeah, that was a hard ass stage from the classic games, if you remember. What else do you got? Neutronic. Hang on, let me keep going. Keep going. Neutralic high zone and stuff. That's a stage from Knuckles Chaotix. So I'm not really too familiar with it because Sega or Sonic Team, they need to put the fucking game on remaster. They need to remaster it. Okay, they need to put it. They should have put it inside Sonic Origins and stuff, like all the other classic games. That Sonic Advance, the entire series, all that stuff. That would have been cool to be on Sonic Origins. And don't get me wrong, this is coming from somebody that actually likes Sonic Origins, but they definitely could have made rooms and put all that stuff in there, though. That's just my thing. But anyways, pretty much the story here is that Knuckles is picking apart Bean and Bark and stuff for like trespassing on his island, and basically he's looking for Fang. So this kind of really shows like Fang's kind of resourcefulness and how competent he is, even though he may not be like as strong as Bark or he may not be as destructive as Bean. He's very clever and stuff, like he really finds his way around all this stuff. He kind of outwits Knuckles and stuff and throws him for a loop. And he even gets like this good hit in on Knuckles and actually puts up a pretty decent fight and even outnumbers him later. Although I'm pretty sure like it's Knuckles, so like he would have beat them anyways. In the end of the day, but still, it really kind of definitely shows. So this is the kind of thing that I've been kind of looking for and stuff, or looking forward to, that I've been wanting to see more like other characters than just Sonic and the others and stuff, or like the heroes. Like, well, let me rephrase that. Instead of just Sonic and Eggman always going back and forth all the time, I kind of wanted to see something a little bit different, um, like Tails, Knuckles, or Amy and stuff. I know they've been getting a little bit more shine, but then there, of course, there's other characters too, like Team Chaotix, Shadow, Rouge, Omega. Like, you know what I mean? Like they could use some like time to shine, or Cream, Big, yeah. So, anyways, pretty much they get into a fight. Um, Fang ends up explaining his reasonings as to why he's here on Angel Island and stuff, um, pretty much. And Knuckles is like, "Look, I've never heard of eighth emerald and all that stuff. Get off my island." They get off. Pretty much here, they go to neutronic high zone and stuff. And Fang also in this page kind of threatens Bean and Bark and stuff. Is like, okay, well, if you guys want to quit so bad, you can probably just I you can get off my bike and I can just dump you off in like the middle of the ocean and all that stuff. And they're like, you know what? Let's stick around a little bit longer, okay? Um, why not? Because they were kind of getting tired of getting beat up and almost dying or getting captured and stuff, like so far. Because here, this is probably like the third time they almost died from drowning. And then the second time, they got captured by Knuckles, and then first time they got beat up by Sonic. So yeah. So of course, like I said, they get the short end of the stick here. All right. All right. So pretty much that's the story up until like Dr. Eggman ends up saving them and all that stuff at the end. So there you go. All right. So personally, myself, this is probably my favorite issue out of this series so far. Issue four has to probably stick the landing, or not stick. It doesn't have to stick the landing, but that's until issue four comes out tomorrow. But for the time being, I think issue two, in my opinion, is like probably the best so far. So pretty much, I feel like Fang is definitely given his flowers. Like I said, he puts up a better fight against Knuckles compared to all the others and stuff, and he's shown more. Well, we're not all the others, but what I mean, compared to Bean and Bart, it really shows like how like ruthless and threatening he is. Like when he tries to abandon his partners in the middle of the ocean and stuff. So like he's not a morally good guy at all. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I want to, yeah, especially like the villains inside Sonic. I definitely want to see more villains shine other than just Dr. Eggman and stuff because it gets, repetitive. So, anyways, yeah. So, anyways, Mubin and Bark, they're not obviously just like, tolerating this either. They're like, of course, they got character to them. They're like, we've been talking and stuff, even though Bark doesn't really talk, but we've been talking, we're kind of getting annoyed and all this stuff, that we're not getting nothing out of this. And we're pretty much going off of some kind of rumor and stuff that we don't even know it's true or not because Sonic and Knuckles, the guys that always be dealing with the chaos or was in the first place, are saying that like, look, we've never heard no eighth emerald and all that stuff, and this is probably a lost cause to begin with or whatever. But yeah, but anyways, what else? But let me go back a little bit because there's some other stuff I also want to talk about too that I actually like. So I would have to say like the beginning where like Fang is by himself and all that stuff, and like we see him like trying to like survive and everything, or he's like trying to avoid Knuckles' traps and all that stuff or whatever, and he's in Metropolis. Um, I feel like this is the best part of the comic for me and stuff because I actually love this part where it really makes it look like he's playing the game or something, or you're playing like as if the player is playing or the reader is playing as Fang in the story. Kind of like, yeah, and I love that about video game like adapted comics and stuff, or like comics that are based off of video games that's trying to adapt it and stuff, where they do like these like these panels in the comics where it resembles the games because this looks exactly like how you would play Santropolis and stuff. So I definitely like how the artists definitely utilize that and all that stuff. So that's my favorite part about this and stuff. And then also there's a subplot here where Sonic and Tails tells Sonic about that there's this like thing going on which will tie in later with the story, but Tails basically told Sonic that there's this like mysterious ghost ship and all that stuff. So they've been trying to tell that and stuff. Sonic got the little anime stress mark right there. So a little anime reference and all that stuff. But yeah, so Sonic is definitely stir crazy and stuff. I'll go more into that later. Oh yeah, and you also got these little ghosts and stuff. This is kind of funny right here. Um, the ghost from Centropolis and stuff. If it's like what is it? If it's too like if it starts getting dark and stuff, they appear. But when you like lit the candle and stuff, then they'll disappear. That kind of thing. And this is also kind of funny too, where Knuckles is just thinking where like Fang tells him that there's an eighth emerald, and Knuckles is like one, two, three, four. He's like, wait a second, the eighth emerald is the master emerald. So he's like, nah, you can't trick me with that wordplay, bro. So yeah, he's like, no, I'm not kidding. I swear. He's like, yeah, like he's trying to explain the whole thing, and Knuckles like, look, I've never heard of this. You're wasting my time. Get off my island. You're not welcome. Blah blah blah. So that's basically the end of that right there. So if I had to give this comic a score, I would definitely say it's a A minus, a 9 out of 10, or a 90%. Basically, I like to do like kind of like a little good school grading and kind of yeah that kind of thing. I like it. Some drawings of kits that somebody did by Yasmin and stuff. Yeah, this is pretty cool right here with Surgeon Kit by Marcus N and stuff. It's silver. There's Whisper and stuff. Little kind of cute refrigerator drawing, but hey, and these are the covers and stuff. This is the cover I got, cover A. This is cover B and stuff. This is also pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie to you. And cover C, or no, not cover C. I think this is the retailer thing, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, uh, again, it's all right. So that's issue 2 so far of Fang the Hunter. So, damn it. Sorry, I think something sticky got on my damn comic. Now I gotta wipe it off later. All right. So now we go into issue 3 of this miniseries. All right, so 3 out of 4 so far. So again, Fang the Hunter. All right. So if you notice on here, pretty much the staff is pretty much the same except for the editor. So there's actually well, it's still the same editor, but there's an extra editor that is the Chica. So Yeah, she's added into the mix here, for like, editing and all that shit. So I don't really know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know how much that impacts the story so far, but I mean, so far so good. So basically, in this story right here, we open up where Dr. Eggman basically captures the hooligans and stuff. And basically, um, pretty much like Eggman's like, all right, so what are you doing on like one of my old islands and stuff? Basically, and Fang was like, your territory. Like, didn't you like it was abandoned? He's like, well, it doesn't matter. It's still my land and stuff, even though it is in bad shape and everything. So what are you doing? So basically they tell him about the AF Emerald and all that stuff, that they're on the quest for it, and then Dr. Eggman's like, ooh, an AF Emerald and stuff, and Fang has very little to go off of, and Eggman's like, so this is probably just a rumor and stuff. And Fang's like, "Well, I know a guy. I know a guy." But whatever. So basically, Eggman basically ends up making the hooligans end up working for him again, and this time around for free because he's like, it's Dr. Eggman. Usually he pays them, but this time around, since he saved their lives and he's threatening them, or he's got the high ground, basically, they're like, you know what, we can work for free. I mean, yeah, so basically he releases them and Eggman is telling them about he wants them to check up on his hard boiled egg hard sorry, I cannot pronounce this. Hard boiled heavies and stuff, his egg heavies basically. If you know from Sonic Mania, I'll explain that later as they appear. But basically they're on that mysterious ghost ship, which this ties into the subplot with Sonic and Tails and stuff. So basically, they've been kind of giving Eggman the runaround. So we'll find more about well how that ends up like later inside issue 4. But basically, they recruit Team Hooligans. We get these scenes with Sonic and Tails and stuff. So pretty much the locations here is basically this unnamed Eggman base, Tails' workshop, and this ghost ship basically. All right, I wouldn't really call it the Egg Fleet because the Egg Fleet that was introduced inside Sonic Heroes. So, anyways, all right. So let's get back to bases here. So basically, we got Tails and Sonic and stuff. So, like I said, Sonic is stir crazy. He wants to know more. He wants to go have some fun, adventure and stuff. I love characters like that. That just love to have fun and and do what they do and stuff. But anyways, basically Tails, basically he had built a device that can like track like the wavelengths or whatever of the ship pretty much. So Sonic's kind of at a loss because Tails did all this explaining and he's just like, what? And Tails basically breaks it down as like it just scans for the mystery waves and just tells us where to find them, pretty much. And then Tails is talking about he's gonna install it on the tornado, and Sonic is just like, oh my god, this is taking forever, bro. All right. So we come back here. Don't know if that's really Green Hill Zone or not, but I'm going to assume it's not. Who knows? But anyways, yeah, they take off and stuff when they find the ship. Scarf's knitting. I mean, I said scarf. Bark is knitting a scarf and stuff. I honestly think that Bark low key is probably knitting it for Amy because I kind of noticed in the IDW comics. And I know this is probably the shipper in me, but I'm just saying like I'm pretty sure I'm not like I know I'm not the only one that's noticed this, but Bark has been kind of a little bit close to Amy in a way. Like Amy kind of likes Spark, not like that. I mean, she likes Sonic, but she thinks that Bark is pretty cool and stuff, like, definitely in the 30th anniversary if you read that, or, yeah, not to mention he also gave Amy his scarf too, briefly, and then, there was another scene, I'm trying to think, um, what's this comic? Amy's 30th special that came out last year, or technically months ago, but yeah, last year, where, she was saying that, yeah, Bark's not a bad dude. I mean, he just hangs out with bad guys, but she doesn't think he's that bad, but yeah. So I think he's personally making it for her though, so that's my opinion. Anyways, thing is basically like so Bean tries to go out and thinks, okay, well, why not ask these because Bean's a little crazy. He tries to go out and ask one of the little egg robos and stuff like what's going down and stuff, and Fang tells him like, bro, no, what are you crazy? Obviously they're lying to Dr. Eggman and stuff. and they got something cooked up. So we got to find out what's up. And then Bean is like, oh, and I thought this is gonna be easy, great. And then Fang, it's funny because Fang is like, well, we're gonna have to do this like quietly and everything, and then they get into all this pretty much. And again, I love when video game based comics and stuff do this kind of thing where like pretty much it's like kind of like it emulates the game itself, so that's pretty cool. All right, so now we finally get a little bit of a boss fight right here, where like they reach this thing that they've been kind of looking for. Like pretty much Fang thinks it might be the eighth emerald and all that stuff. And then we encounter the Heavy Rider and stuff, one of the bosses from Sonic Mania. So basically, he tries to attack Team Hooligans and all that stuff. And again, Fang is leading and stuff. He's cooking up strategies on how to take down the Heavy Rider and all that. Pretty much, Beam blows, like gets his little chain ball thing away from him. Bark attacks him directly, and then Fang ends up taking his motor bug and stuff. So then Heavy Rider's like, Jimmy, no! He kidnapped Jimmy, his pet motor bug. But anyways, and then Fang is all like, all right, give it up, or this bug is gonna get squashed. So pretty much they'd reach this, and then it's revealed to actually be the Warp Topaz. So again, if you're new here and you don't know what the Warp Topaz is, because and why does it sound like a Chaos Emerald? Well, basically the Warp Topaz, it is something that's exclusive inside the IDW comics for the time being. But basically, there's a villain named Doctor Starline who had used the Warp Topaz to like teleport himself and all that stuff. And later on, Super Sonic and Super Silver had used it to try and I guess what is it, exercise or you know to pretty much like teleport the little zombie virus because everybody got mutated into like becoming zombots and stuff. It was a whole thing, or the metal virus, and teleported it to the sun pretty much. Thanks to Silver's telekinesis in his super form, and Sonic using kind of chaos control and the warp topaz. So basically, the warp topaz had kind of just I don't know ended up out of nowhere. And if you read the thousandth adventure of Sonic and stuff, the comic, which is pretty much a collection, or not a collection, but it's the thousandth story of like of like Sonic's adventure. It's his thousandth adventure, pretty much, right? And that takes into account like all the other stuff, like the games, the comics. Um, I guess the cartoons will probably count too, but everything that is taken into account. And that's the last we saw of the Warp Topaz until now. So that's probably the eighth emerald that Fang has been talking about. He's like, wait, so I guess this is it, basically. So, anyways, Jimmy ends up back with the heavies and stuff. But anyways, but Heavy King, he basically reveals himself, and he's been trying to, I guess, utilize the Warp Topaz, and he's talking about, like Fang is trying to split him a deal and stuff. He's like, well, we could just take this and not say anything to Dr. Eggman. And Heavy King is like, well, yeah, or we could just kill you and claim you just never got here and or whatever. I mean, it's not like anyone could correct us or anything. Oh yeah, and this is where Bean and Bart get all mad because yeah, there was no eighth emerald after all, and it was the Warp Topaz. Um, and then we get a shot of the egg heavies and stuff. So we got Heavy Rider, um, what's this man's name? Heavy Shinobi. We got Heavy Magician. Hold on. I actually wrote this stuff down too. Um, yeah, yeah. Heavy Rider, the Heavy Magician, Heavy Shinobi, and the Heavy King. Don't really remember who this is actually. This, yeah. But regardless, they're gonna that's what's going down with Team Hooligans, basically. So again, the art is pretty cool and stuff. I like it. Um, Definitely very cartoonish and stuff. Screams classic era vibes. Well, it is the classic era pretty much, but still gotta appreciate it though. Simple storytelling and everything. So yeah, I definitely love these comics for the time being. So yeah, so let me look over my notes and stuff to see if there's anything else I have to say before I just end this. Well, actually, no, I take that back. I'm not gonna end this yet. I have one more comic that I'll probably do some editing and stuff into it, but yeah, but you know what I mean. Let's see. But yeah, no, I've pretty much mentioned everything. So as far as I would say like this comic honestly is like a well, a B minus in my opinion. It's a little dry, but it's all right. I actually like it. It's yeah, 80% or no, well yeah, 80% or B minus, but a pretty decent comic though. So so I like that. All right, so that's the end of that right there, and this will be the cover next time, which is tomorrow. Um, I haven't really decided which cover I would get, but I mean, when I see it, I'll see it. So you know how it is. Let's see. So some artwork or some fan art from some of the fans. Creator corner. Let's see. These are the covers right here. That's cover A. Uh, Cover A probably does look like the best, honestly. And then there's cover B, which is pretty cool and stuff. You got Eggman, Fang, and then you got the Heavy King, if I'm not mistaken, right there. Or it could be some other kind of heavy. No, no, no. Actually, that might be Heavy Rider. My bad. My bad. That's Heavy Rider. Okay. The one with the motorboat. And then I think this is what the retailer thing. Again, like I said, it's all right. And that's the end of that. And then we got the little Sonic IDW art book right here at the back. So that's also pretty cool. And I actually do have it too. But anyways, that's the end of that. I'll do a review of issue 4 and try to edit into that. But so far, that's my reviews of issues 1, 2, and 3. And yeah. All right, so I'm back at it again. If you're seeing this, I probably just edited in this last part into that video, because the fourth issue just came out. Pretty much it came out this week and stuff, so I'm a couple days in. This is the day after Free Comic Book Day, so it's Sunday and all that stuff. So now I have time to like give you this review and stuff. So if you saw me from the other day, I was doing a live stream and all that stuff. But so I'm pretty much editing this in here and all that stuff. Yeah, so let's get right into it. So I took down some notes for issue 4, and I got some thoughts. And yeah, so I guess the best way to break the ice is to pretty much explain what's going on. So this picks up from obviously from issue 3 right here, where pretty much the team hooligans is surrounded by the hard boiled heavies and stuff. So we got heavy shinobi, we got heavy magician, we have heavy gunner, we have heavy rider right here. That's his actually no, heavy gunner was the character whose name I couldn't remember properly. But yeah, heavy gunner, heavy rider, and the heavy king right here. And then we got our, main characters. We got Bark, we got Bean, and we got Fang. So yeah. So anyways, basically, they realized, okay, we're pretty much outnumbered and we can't do nothing against them. So they decided to make a run for it and everything. Pretty much, the old Joe Star technique. Fang calls up his marvelous queen, his little bike and stuff. Beans making fun of him, talking about so forget calling it the marvelous queen since it's not showing up. Talk about you lazy prima donna. It's like you take that back. That's my bike you're talking about. So he's still mad. Like yeah, so he's mad at him about that. So heavy riders kind of hot on the trail. Bark, he's trying to hold his own ground. Fights off the heavy rider and stuff again, pretty much. So pretty much he stalls them for a while to allow them to kind of get away. And he also decides to take on the Heavy King too, so that's also pretty good. And this is also one of my favorite parts actually, in the comic, as you'll see. So they're trying to make a run for it. As you can see right here, this is a little interesting. So Bean is trying to get away from them, obviously, and Fang, he tries to make a break for it pretty much. And as you see, Bean he runs backwards, I think, right here in this panel, and then he realizes, oh shit, he got tricked by the heavy magician and all that stuff. Is like, yeah, pretty much he's all like, this way you mook. And then he's like, I'm coming, sheesh. And then he's like, huh, this kind of looks like a dead end. right here, and then you see that look on Heavy Magician's face, and it's like, what a marvelous choice of words. Because if you don't know, Heavy Magician's a girl and all that stuff, and Bean's like, oh shit, I'm cornered now. And Heavy Gunner is right there. He's like, huh, you're a magician, you're a heavy magician, and you did some magic trickery. I never saw it coming, which is a reference to Sonic Mania. Because if you remember Heavy Magician, she like had the ability to kind of like to like shapeshift herself into looking like, or she it was like illusion pretty much, but she can pretty much take on forms of like Fang and Bark and Bean and stuff. It was a nice little reference in there from that stage. I actually like that boss fight too. So anyways, Fang is on the run and stuff. He's like, man, where did those other two go? Like, and how else are they gonna help me get away? And then Heavy Shinobi shows up, nearly almost cuts down Fang and all that stuff. He ends up freezing him like that, just like in his stage and all that stuff, where you get frozen. And then we get Sonic Tails here and stuff. Sonic's mad because they're not getting really much action here and all that, because Team Hooligans kind of came by and did everything for him. And so Sonic's just arriving, but they're obviously dealing with the worst. So we go back here. Fang pretty much manages to outsmart what's his face, Heavy Shinobi and stuff by having him get hit by his marvelous queen, as you can see right here. Then Fang manages to steal a sword and ends up freezing Heavy Shinobi with his own sword and all that stuff. Then he tries to make love with this little marvelous queen and all that stuff, basically. You know. And then pretty much as Bean is kind of cornered by Gunner and Heavy and stuff, he pulls out the big guns or a big bomb and stuff and blows them up. And he's like, "Yep." It's like, man, goodness. He's like, "Oh my goodness, I am so trapped. One of my dinky little bombs just ain't gonna cut it. Well, I better use a bigger one." And then how bomb crazy Bean can be. He's a straight up bomber man. So then Fang, he tries out the warp topaz and ends up teleporting to where Bean's at and stuff. So he tries to grab Bean and is like, all right, well, we got what we came for, so now we can get out and all that stuff. And then Bean is like, well, what about Bark? And then Fang is like, well, what about Bark? And he's like, we're going back for him. So Fang is like, all right, fine, whatever. So Bark, he's in a whole anime stare down with Heavy King. He's been putting up a good fight and everything. Heavy King is all like, man, you're really good. Like you fight with the strength of and the tenacity of a robot. I mean, you got my respect. Which I'll talk about that in a second. But let me keep talking about this story. But Bark, he's getting pretty much beat up and all that stuff until Fang shows up to save the day. And as I like this whole concern that that Bean has for Bark and all that stuff. He's like, "Oh my God, you okay, buddy?" and stuff. So you see right here. So, anyways, they managed to teleport it with the warp topaz. Sonic and Tails pretty much get right over here to the little reactor, and Tails like Sonic is just he's mad. Okay, he's just like, man, I came here for an adventure, and this is so lame and boring and stuff. And then Tails is like, well, I mean, this is one of Eggman's ships and stuff, and since he's a bad guy, I mean, we could probably blow this ship up and just call it a day. And Sonic's like, you know what? You're my best friend for a reason, Tails. That's what I like about you. So anyways, Heavy King gets all this stuff where Sonic and Tails end up blowing up the ship, and the last minute they manage to get out and all that stuff, get back to the what you call it, to the tornado, and they escape pretty much. So that's about it from right there. Eggman calls Heavy King and is all like, what happened and stuff because like they've been trying to like avoid him for a minute, and now they actually have a reason as to why they've been on yeah, why they're set back now for real, because because Sonic and Tails actually did blow up the little thing. And Eggman's like, all right, no excuses or whatever. You better get back here. And then Team Hooligans teleport. As you can see, Bean and Bark are not liking that teleportation. They're kind of a little bit sick. But yeah. Um, so Vega's like, oh man, that's right. We really did it. And then Bean's like, are you crazy? You put us through all that just for this? Like, nah, bro, nah. So, being embarked ended up separating from Fang and ended up going their separate ways because they're just like, nah, we're not doing this bullshit anymore. With you mistreating us, neglecting us, putting us through hell. Like, no, and then you get all the you reap the benefits and all that. Like, nah, bro. So Fang is like, Jesus, and I had to, and I made those little sidecars and just stuff just for you. I bend over backwards, which really he doesn't, but okay. So, anyways, Eggman calls up Fang and is like, "All right, I'm having a really bad day, so you better have some good news." And then Fang basically tells him like what happened and stuff. He's like, "Well, basically, your robots renegade on us, but in that eighth emerald and stuff, basically Fang tells him that it was all a lie. He doesn't really tell him that it was the warp topaz or anything. He just keeps that to himself, and that's pretty much about it from there. So then we go into this next page, which is the final page, where Eggman tells Fang about this uncharted island that he's been investigating, or that he wants to be, or like he wants to have it investigated. So he sends Fang to go check it out. So he's hiring him to do that this time instead of threatening his life or whatever. And Fang's like, well, this keeps getting better and better. So I get paid, and I mean, well, I can get paid for a new job and everything. I get this warp topaz and all that. And he's like, all right, bet. So then he sets out. So then this is pretty much bleeding into that mini comic from or the online comic of Fang the Hunter and stuff. So that's the little Sonic Superstars mini comic. So yeah, I mean this isn't, but I'm saying the online one that is. So that's what this leads into, and then eventually the Sonic Superstars game. So that kind of makes Sonic Superstars now canon inside the IDW universe. Even though I don't know if the classic era is in the same like dimension or timeline or whatever as the modern one, but hey, it is what it is. So that's the end of that. Pretty much these are the covers and stuff. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's cover A, right? Yeah, yeah. No, let me check right here, actually. Yeah, that's cover A. Yep, cover A right here. And this is cover B. I could have gotten cover A and stuff, and it was actually on my pull list, but I kind of like cover B a lot more because it just like reminds me of like that classic box set for the old Sonic games and stuff. And then on top of that, even like some of the old cover art for the Archie comics too. So yeah, like like back in like like issue what was it, like issue 150 or whatever, or 120. No, no, not 120. Like around like 150 or something like that, or 160. Yeah, for the Archie comics, that's what it kind of reminds me of. That kind of cover art with the white background, and they got the characters on there and stuff. Yeah, and I like that. And then this is I guess not cover C, but the retailer thing, which looks okay. But again, I wasn't really a fan of these covers. I was a fan of like more so like covers A and B and stuff because they just gave me more of that kind of game vibe, and it was a lot more badass looking. So that's issue 4 so far. What do I give it as far as a score? Like I said, I would say it's an 87% for me. So it's definitely like a B plus. So that's a good rating. Um, so let me go over some of my stuff before I tell you my closing thoughts of this comic. So all right. So my favorite part of this comic is definitely of course Bark and stuff where he takes on the Heavy King. It really shows you because if you guys don't know, I mean, or you probably already know, but Bark, he's kind of like classic Knuckles' kind of rival and stuff because he's also a brawler. He's also very strong and stuff. He is a polar bear after all. So yeah. Um, Pretty much. So I like this whole fight with him is like that him like fighting the Heavy King and stuff because like really Knuckles he has a lot of rivals obviously outside of just Sonic and stuff all the time. Like a lot of his more burly, strong looking rivals and stuff. Like you got Bark, or if you want to go like the modern era, you got Storm the Albatross and stuff, or you got maybe some other character. But they don't really like offer Knuckles like much of a physical threat sometimes, or they don't like have like anything that's like, oh. or they do, but they just don't have anything that like just going for him. Like yeah, Storm. He's just a meathead, or Bark. I mean, he doesn't really do much outside the classic era, and so now, or unless we have these comics and stuff. So that's pretty cool. So I liked how there's these like scenes of him fighting the Heavy King and stuff, even though he's not winning and stuff. Like I said, if it was like Sonic or Knuckles or something, oh yeah, they definitely won. But he's really giving it his all and stuff. So I love this, like giving these other characters like spotlight. So it makes Heavy King also look pretty strong too, and kind of imposing because now it's like, oh, he's not just like cannon fodder or something, or he's not like just some character that, oh, Sonic can just beat all the time and stuff like that. No, other characters struggle with this character because he's really something. But I love how like Bark is really giving it his all, and then throughout the rest of this comic and stuff, he's beat up and stuff, and Bean is like concerned for him. He's like, yeah, um, he's like, bro, man, you okay, man? So I like that, and yeah, even at this part here where like Bean is getting all sick with the teleportation and stuff, Bark, I'm not even sure if he's either sick or he's just sick of just these ass whoopings that he's been getting, but still. But it really does, show that the character has a lot of heart and stuff, and I definitely do like, Bean's compassion and stuff for him and how outspoken he is, with, yeah, sorry, I can't speak. How outspoken he is with Fang and stuff because it just doesn't make him, like, seem like he's one-dimensional. And I'm not saying that was the case before, and stuff. I mean, well, back in the Archie comics, I mean, Bean and Bark just worked for Fang just because, they're mercenaries or whatever, but so they just had that in common. But here, yeah, and I'm not comparing. I'm not making a comparison. I'm just using that as a reference or whatever. But they are outspoken and just talking about like how like look, we've been getting the crappy end of the stick lately, and we're getting sick and tired of it. So finally they leave and just go off on their own and stuff, like go their own separate ways because they're just like, yeah, we've had enough. So that would also kind of explain why they're not inside Sonic Superstars, even though, yeah, like why they're not inside Superstars and stuff. I was going to say also because, in the games and stuff, they're not technically a gang really, but like they are in the comics. But yeah, that would explain it though, you know. So, anyways, and then I also like how this bleeds into Sonic Superstars. That wasn't really something I was expecting either, because I was like, oh, and this leads into Sonic Superstars and stuff. So yeah, it's like okay, that's pretty nice, and I like how it's set and stuff. So it makes it all kind of come full circle. So that's issue 4 and stuff, and pretty much all of the Fang comics and stuff so far. For this mini series. And then we'll get back on track with the regular Sonic comics and stuff. But yeah, but let me talk about like what do I think of the stuff because I got all the comics right here.